ahead. Jeff, first of all, what are you seeing this morning? What has happened overnight, and how are you?
Well, Joel, overnight I had a good sleep, funny enough, all was quiet. Yes, there is definitely conflict all around Kiev, but it is a big city and you can be a bit detached from the proceedings. Now, where we are, we're in quite close to the city centre where there's a lot of government buildings and whatnot. We were woken up this morning from about 7 o'clock with air raid sirens and whatnot going off, but so far no sign of tanks or soldiers on the streets, if you know what I mean. So it's hard to judge just at this stage, at this part of the city. Yesterday, yes, a lot of people, the mood of the city changed dramatically, and a lot of people fled, ran away. But when I was walking around the city from about 11 o'clock, it was like a ghost town. Streets empty, shops closed. It was eerie. It was unusual. And the mood has changed to one of fear because I don't think people actually believe that the Russians would actually do it. Because it's been sitting there like festering boil for 8 years on the border with the conflict on the two disputed areas on the east. So it's
What
hard to judge.
What is your plan, Jeff? What are you going to do? Are you going to stay come what may, or are you going to make a call at some point? And what is that point?
Well, so far, I've said before, tongue in cheek, but my family moved into the Belfast in the very early 70s when my grandfather died, and my father took over the family business, which was a shop in the old Tigers Bay. So I have witnessed real street fighting and real conflict. I've lived through the times when you couldn't go through Belfast because there was barricades, 3 cars deep, and burning houses and buildings every night. So it hasn't even got to that stage yet on the ground where we are. What's my knockoff point? I don't know. I'm here with my wife, and I'm going to stay here with my wife, obviously, because yes, the army seems to be attacking military installations and strategic places like airports, but so far for the people in the street in Kiev, it's not actually affecting them that badly, apart from, yes, the fear of what is going to happen. But we don't know what's going to happen. But the answer is yes, I will stick it out as long as I can with Tanya. And see what happens. You can only play it by ear as it unfolds, the situation. Now,
Tanya, can you see any circumstances whenever you would decide to leave Kiev?
uh,
No, I was wondering for Tanya.
No, I think not. We don't want to leave Kiev. We hoped all be good here in our city.
Tanya has grown up with this all her life. I mean, when she was a young girl, it was part of the Soviet Union, Ukraine.
Yes,
So
we still don't believe then Russia will shooting our people. It's absolutely crazy situation.
And how was it for you, Tanya, when you had in your mind this belief that this will never happen, and all of a sudden overnight that changes, and you see and hear about the airstrikes, and you hear the Interior Ministry advisor today saying the hardest day will be today. The enemy's plan is to break through to Kiev. That appears now to not be in doubt. It must have been a terrible moment for you when you realized that what you hoped would happen actually was not the case.
In general, about us, last 8 years, we saw our politicians how they provide politics in Ukraine. So we don't believe so much for our government. we don't believe so much to politicians what they say. So we hope all be okay. This conflict will finish very soon and without victims.
All right, too many victims or bloodshed, yes.
What was it like, Jeff, watching so many of those families leaving Kyiv yesterday? We saw on television the lines and lines of cars on the motorway, and we spoke to some of those who were, waiting to cross the Polish border.
It was a bit surrealistic, a bit unreal to see. We've had friends and neighbours who have packed up and ran away. And it's a bit unreal to see all these people suddenly their whole lives upset and they're so scared and in so much fear that they feel they have to. It's like a throwback to Nazi Germany and World War II, where we still see the documentaries of families pushing handcarts filled with their possessions trying to escape the conflict. It's you don't actually believe that such a situation can happen in a modern country, in albeit a settled society.
Jeff, do you still have family back here, and what are they saying to you? I mean, they must be very concerned and worried about you.
Oh well, family and friends back in Northern Ireland that have been constantly giving me the messages, basically run away, pack up and run away now, because they are influenced by the world media, who sometimes overplay the situation, if you know what I mean, and make it out a lot worse than what it is. Some of the media, if you were to listen to the stories, you would believe that there's bombs dropping everywhere, etc., etc., and tanks rolling up the streets. And so far, it's not happening just so bad. For example, they say, oh, Russia, with a great hard-fought battle, have taken the nuclear reactor at Chernobyl. Chernobyl is on the border of Belarus, and it is an atomic wasteland which they're trying to cover up after the explosion. So I wouldn't be boasting about it, overrunning and capturing a nuclear wasteland, which I don't know. I feel sorry for any soldiers sitting in tanks there all day.
With it's interesting, Jeff, though, that you use the phrase, running away or run away, as opposed to maybe a phrase of moving to safety. And that it's interesting that is your mindset, that you would see that as running away. Is that sort of a position of defiance that you're in?
I would think yes, possibly. As I say, I never ran away from anything in my life. That's just my mindset. And people,
what would you say to people who maybe think that it's a position of denial of what is perhaps coming? Is that fair, or what would you say to those
no,
people?
it is fair, but it's. I saw people here that the whole mindset in society went from, as Tanya said, didn't quite believe that it would happen, that the Russians would actually do this to the Ukrainians, because at the essence they are the same people. It's a bit like trying to divide the two religions in Northern Ireland. At essence we're the same people, but we'll find a reason to fight. But they didn't quite believe that the Russians would go this far and would actually invade them. And suddenly, here they are. They're confused, they're disappointed, and they're scared. Yes.
Jeff, just one last question. If the time comes where you believe that you and Tanya's safety is at risk, have you a plan? Have you decided what you're going to do, or will it be impulsive?
I think it will be impulsive, as we don't know just when that level will be reached. And I don't actually think it will be.
Is it in your mind that it could? It's not even in your mind that it could be today or tomorrow or the next day?
No, it's not in my mind that it could be. Yes, there are terrible things happening. There's atrocities. There's war and fighting. But I still hold out the hope that this will settle down. It won't come to the point of all like bloody street fighting conflict, if you know what I mean. That it will settle down once the government offices and institutions have been taken, and the country control is under Russia. I think that's all Putin is after, is military bases and government buildings. He's not after attacking the actual people in the street.
Listen, we really appreciate you both taking time to speak to us. And Jeff, obviously, we'll try and keep in touch, but I hope everything works out and you stay safe and we're able to talk about how you get through this time at some stage in the future.
Yes, look
Thanks very
forward to
much.
it. Okay, all the best.
Thank you both very much.
Cheers.
Thank you. We will be
Take
here.
care. Bye.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.